Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe. This is Your Body is a Musical Instrument. And we're here, Margaret Barry and I are here every Thursday at the same time, every single week. It's 7:30 in the morning. Today, we're just waiting for Margaret to arrive. And in the meantime, I'd like to talk a little bit about why we chose this title, Your Body is a Musical Instrument. It may seem a very strange idea, and yet it fits so well with many other things that I'm constantly talking about, and that is through the embodiment lens, so that we can really start to see that our way of life in the developed world is often leading us to neglect the body, to leave our instrument in a case in the corner and just, freewheel with ideas and concepts and analyses and things like that. So really one of the things we need to do is get that instrument out of its case, clean it up, tune it, and play. And so that's really encapsulates a lot of what I do with Lodestone and many clients of different caliber and so on. And, it really is a superb, I hesitate to say metaphor because I can't see it as a metaphor. Music is too precious to me in a way to be a metaphor. But we can use it to inspire a new way of looking at the body. Let's put it like that. And I can see Margaret's here now, so I'm going to bring her in without more ado.
Yeah, apologies. The tech completely confused me this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
here I am. I'm here.
Yes, you made it. You always get through all of that tech problem. I kind of have this picture of you climbing through a barbed wire fence, getting hooked up on various places and then eventually pushing through.
And I say the music would be the Ride of the Valkyries.
That's right. Anyway, the main thing is you're here now, and I was just about to launch into a soliloquy, so I'm very glad you made it, so we can have a nice chat. So how have you been this week? What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
It's been, cooler, which always enhances one's ability to be active, which has been a relief. It has been. And I'm preparing to go away for a couple of days, which is quite nice. Something that really nice to look forward to.
Oh, good. That sounds great. And how? I've been so busy this week. Wow, things are getting so busy.
Nice,
it's busy. Great. Yeah, it's nice busy. I've got some really nice new clients, ADHD clients actually. Is right up my street. And I've got some more partnerships on the go, and all sorts of things are happening. So yeah, it's very exciting and very good to there's great momentum at the moment for me, and not speed, momentum, so it's very paced and very nice, really. So my question is, have you played your instrument this week?
Have I what my instrument? Sorry, I didn't
hear
the...
Have you played your instrument this week?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question because I don't often go away. So it's always for me a little bit of excitement, of, well, how shall I do this? And anyway, that's been a bit of fun. And just interesting, interactions with people, always. I love those sort of, playing together, using my metaphor of how we actually harmonize. Sometimes, of course, there's not harmony, and that's always the kind of edgy stuff, as we call it, you know. And I love that phrase, the edge, coming to the edge of something where we hesitate, where we're not quite sure, do we jump? Do we stay? Do we go back? And edge behavior is actually very interesting, especially when one encounters it with clients who reach an edge and then are hesitant. And of course, part of our job, you know, is to, I always say, to guide people gently over the edge so that the landing is safe.
Yes, I think that's a really nice way of putting it. And I really agree that because we tend to divide, let's say, the way we think and the way our capacity is. So this week I've been really focusing on this word capacity. Because I feel that, you know, to enhance our capacity is more than just expanding our thoughts and concepts and so on, as you know, from the body chemistry point of view, from all levels of the body. Then, you know, even something as simple as changing the way you breathe from belly breathing to diaphragmatic breathing can really give more space to the body. Literally capacity in the chest cavity. You know, the organs get really compressed if you neglect your diaphragm and it's not functioning as a kind of bellows, if you like. A bit like the organ, you know, the bellows have to be pumped. If you're just breathing from either up here or right down low, then the organs are all squeezed up and you perhaps can't expand physically, you know, you're kind of constrained, if you like. And so I think the notion of capacity is a really good one, because I think we all have incredible capacity, but we tend to live dominated by the mind, perhaps dominated by external voices, social voices, all of the external stuff. And so the capacity doesn't kind of shift until we move towards the edge. And maybe for me, that edge that you mention is the point where we realize that we have capacity, more capacity than we can create from here.
And we have a choice. We have a choice.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the most important thing, is if we were out hiking and we came to an edge and we looked over the edge and we thought, not sure about this, you know. Or alternately, we look over the edge and we say, well, if we go this way or that way or this way, we'll be fine. And that's, it's a term, and I can't remember where I learned it. I think it's not a Jungian term. I think it came from another sort of psychological theory. But that edge for me is such a wonderful metaphor. And our work really is about, I always say, kissing people over the edge, you know, so that they go willingly and happily into a new way of understanding themselves, living their lives, and contributing.
Yes, I like that. And actually, it reminds me of a series of interviews I did at the beginning of this year. It was before you and I got together. It's called The Performer's Edge. And I worked with a young Japanese woman called Minami Yusui, who had removed herself to New York at a very young age. And she went to drama school there with hardly any English.
Wow.
Hardly any English. And while she was in drama school, she had some amazing experiences that only a kind of foreigner could have, and only a kind of Japanese could have, actually. And of course, then she really took off at the age of 20, and she became a Broadway star. So she has worked in Broadway quite a lot. She's now working on her own, and she's, past that age now. So we ran, I think it was 4 interviews. I interviewed her 4 times, and each time we looked at a different aspect of performance. And we called it Performer's Edge, and this is
Right.
what has reminded me. And so we looked at things like, the language that performers need or use. We looked at the presence performers need, and we told stories about our experience as performers. It was a really, really interesting series, and I hope we can do it again at some point. But yes, I think for performers in music, coming back to music, there is a definite edge there. And I would say that it's not necessarily about maturity, but, and Minami agreed with me, it's more about, again, realizing your capacity. And certainly she very clearly realized that as an actor and a music performer on Broadway, then she had to conduct her acting, her performance, as if the whole world was watching and enjoying. And she said one day that had occurred to her when she was being tutored by a drama teacher. And in those days, this was in the early days, where she was still hesitant about English and so on, and culture, coming straight from Japan. But she used to wear her hair over her forehead, quite high foreheaded Japanese women often. And she covered her forehead because she didn't like it. So this acting teacher said to her, "Minami, who are you?" So poor old Minami was quaking in her boots, and she said, "I'm not sure what you mean." And this person said to her, "We can't see who you are because of your hair." So she was so surprised by this. And of course, immediately, brushed it all back. And from then on, she said that she became aware that she had to be herself when she was performing. There was no point in taking on a persona, which is what she'd always thought. It happened, you took on the persona of the person you were portraying. Not so. And, modern ways of acting are much more about being present, being authentic. So once she got rid of her hair, everything changed. And she really realized that to be a star, she had to be herself, entirely herself.
You raise a very interesting point about, how we cover aspects of ourselves at times, either because of shyness or because of insecurity, or we've been taught that's how it should be. And that ability to question the things we assume about our lives and don't question because that's the way it is. Your hair must be there.
Yeah. Well, that's what she absolutely, I mean, she went on to say, and I endorse this, that Japanese education very often up to the age of 18 is about how you should be in the world, because it's a very highly structured society, as you know, and it's formulaic. You have to do certain things at certain times, and if you don't, then you're not part of the society. It's very, very strict, quite severe. Comparatively, with Western society. So, she said during that time, once she got her hair off her face, during the next 6 months, she went through incredible, dramatic changes and questions about how she'd been brought up. And a little bit like you, she said, yes, my parents, and especially my father, would also always say to me, Minami, and make her step back. And and because she was a girl, of course.
We won't
So
go
the
down
same.
that road.
No, that's right. It's that. Yeah, we know it. It's very painful. But same thing happening here in Japan, and she is only, I think she's mid-40s now. So it's still there, and she was still trapped by that. But then once she had sort of lived through this huge change, then she started to really attract the gigs. She got the applause. She became, and then she went on to become a stage manager, managing tours and stuff like that as a non-native English speaker who had arrived with, 3 or 4 expressions in English. Amazing story. And
you
to me,
you highlight for me a really important thing about breaking the spells that are often cast over us in developmental years, the way we should be. And the way we should be isn't necessarily who we actually are.
No.
And
right.
And that ability to break those spells, and some of us are very lucky. We get the right people who come into our lives at the right moment that help us. Or we have an awakening within ourselves. So it's fascinating. We all have our own way of recognizing what needs to happen.
Yes, and that's what really makes it so fascinating, isn't it? Each journey is individual, and as we say every single time we talk, the more we can embrace the fact that there is nobody like us in the world anywhere, even if it's an identical twin brother or something, there is nobody, and we can really capitalize on that. And in fact, I've just been talking to someone a minute ago in India who said to me, Lyndon, you are unique. I said, I know. And he said, well, why are you trying to be like everybody else? And I said, I'm not. And that's the problem. I don't fit in. No, I don't fit into any pigeonhole. And he went very quiet and he said, wow, I'm so shocked to hear you say that. He was really very seriously trying to father me, I think. He thought I needed a bit of fathering. But yeah, I mean, that feeling of, not being in a pigeonhole, I love that feeling. I love it and always have. And as you pointed out many times, people are not like me, so they probably can't do what I am doing, and why would they?
Well, it again reminds me of Jung's The Both And. We conform in certain ways because, that is the way in which we have agency. However, we can perform it in a unique way. Unique to us.
Yes. And we can see really shining lights in the world who do that, aren't we? But it takes courage, I think. I think it takes courage. I've never been totally aware of that because I'm just me, but I do think for many people it takes courage to not fit in the pigeonhole. Like Minami, she had to move to another continent, to be able to realize that she didn't have to be pigeonholed.
The question for me that is so interesting is, what was it within her that she recognized she needed to actually move to another country to enable her to become herself?
Very interesting question. And I asked her that. Actually, you'd have been proud of me. I asked her that question in one of the interviews. And, I said, why were you so sure that going to the States would do this for you? And she said, yeah, I was so sure from such a young age, because everybody in my family, when I sat and watched the Oscars and all these, Hollywood awards, she was entranced by. And I was glued to watching these things. And all the family was saying, oh, this is a pipe dream, you're Peter Pan, you're all this stuff. And she said, yes, on the outside, she said, but she never lost that fire to go to that place. And she did. She ended up at those awards, not winning an award for herself, but with her chorus group in a big Les Miserables, big Broadway show that she was in. So she knew at a younger age, despite the fact that people were trying to mold her, keep her safe, and especially father, I think, who, Japanese fathers are so protective of their daughters and really want to keep them at home and, choose their marriage partners and things like that. That's still going on here.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
but
that
she
was certainly what I grew up with, and I certainly didn't grow up in Japan, but that sort of girls somehow had to be protected in a particular way that boys didn't require. And of course, it ingrains in one this almost anxiety about stepping out, about putting yourself forward.
Yes, doesn't
Attracting
it?
an audience, because really?
Yeah.
Questionable.
That's what she said so much. She said, when she was at school, so often she would be dying to just step forward and sing or say something, but always she was held back by this fear of standing out too much. And that is so important in this culture. It's a real object lesson, here.
Well, wonderful that she broke the spell and was
Isn't
able
it?
to become herself. And again, it comes back to how we express our uniqueness safely in the world that we occupy. And some of us have that ability to just say, up yours, out, I'm going out here. And others, this is safe.
Yeah. There's a kind of defiance perhaps going on. But I feel that defiance is a little bit, is going to avoid the ultimate outcome of things, because we are defying something, and that's a kind of mental activity. And I think that it probably means what we're trying to achieve or trying to reach won't come true, perhaps, if we're focused on that defiance. You know what I mean?
Well, what I'm hearing about is the choice of words, because when we say defy, we're, indicating that this is a bit of a battle going on here, that we've got to break things down. And whereas if we resist, that's a different sort of word, So it really highlights for me the sound of words and the impact, in the same way music impacts us, but words do as well, because of the nuances of pitch and emphasis.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, language is at the bottom of everything, I think. For most people, I'm finding that so much with the work I'm doing. Once you start to reframe the language, and once people start to own those words and give them their individual meaning for only their efficacy and their what's the word? I'm not running out of English words today. Wait a minute. Can't get it. Anyway, the way they are out putting themselves out in the world, then once they really start to own those vibrations, and here we come back to music, of course, and those vibrations are in sync with us physically, chemically, structurally, vocally, and so on, and also build into that the spiritual element, then karmically too. perhaps. And so I feel that vibration is at the base of everything. And, if we are become more aware of that. Yeah, just a very simple example that someone who was trying to overcome a problem told me what he was saying. I said, what are you saying about this problem to yourself? And he thought for a moment. He'd never been asked such a strange question in his life, I think. And he said, oh, I'm saying, oh, maybe I will. This thing he had to do. So I asked him to say that a few times, and he said it very hollowly. Maybe I will. It's very little weak voice. It's had quite a big vocal range potentially. So I made him. We had a bit of fun, and I got him to really, I really kind of tickled him, made him laugh, virtually speaking. And he started to experiment with the word will. And when we got to the bottom of this word will, it is hugely vibrational word, isn't it? If we really say it from the heart. And he could actually feel it vibrating in his chest. And he was amazed that this was happening. And by the end of that session, he was saying things with a very different voice. His shoulders had opened, chest opened, his face opened, everything started to open because his vibrations were now activated. And
may I just interrupt there, because what I was thinking about is, the whole level of tension that we carry in our bodies, because that ability to relax into our natural way takes focus.
Yes.
It takes focus to relax, actually, because often we have, again, been reared to be tense around certain people, and our voice tightens and we get anxious and, I'm not quite sure how this is going to land. And can I be myself? No, I can't be myself because it's too dangerous. And, and that all goes on sort of sotto voce under the radar.
Yes, absolutely. And that was happening to him. He'd been brought up in Singapore, and very strictly Chinese Singapore. And he talked about the stress and so on. So his voice was really snared up with all this cultural stress, and so with me, we started to reactivate it, and he went away with a big smile on his face. So that was good.
You remind me of one of my favorite sayings, smile, it increases your face value.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. It's so true. A smile can change everything. Yeah,
absolutely. And the sound of laughter.
Yes.
Is infectious.
Yes, it is infectious. And, the whole mood will change when people start to laugh. It's really great. So, yes, coming back to music, our real anchorage, knowing that we're surrounded by sound, and in my mindful practice, I use the word vibration actually directly and ask people to detect vibrations when they're, in their inner core. And one of the problems with that is when they pause, accept the vibration, and then move on, what happens is they start to name that vibration. So again, we've come back to words, and you can see that they're going, what is that I'm hearing? What is that sound? And trying desperately to put a label on it. And to categorize it, of course, which is what we do in the visual world, in the intellectual world. So one of the biggest challenges is getting people to not label and not even guess, because in the unlimited mind, right down here in the full capacity of our humanity, we don't need those labels. We can just accept those things, and we can continue to scan for more vibrations. So it's a quite well-known meditational technique to try to resist labeling as we travel down through the layers. And then we are so free to be just like a tiger. So I use that too. I say, you are a tiger in the jungle, prowling through the undergrowth, and every vibration is either the next meal or a threat. And tigers do not label. And people laugh at that point. So that gets them more relaxed about it. But yeah, I think we spend so much of our lives labeling and categorizing. And we can't do that with music.
Well,
if we're
we can.
absorbed it.
We can.
Oh, we
to
can.
What end? To what end? And
well, yes.
If we understand the end product that we're hoping to, arrive at or achieve, that we can be much more flexible. Now it's time for me to not say anything. It's time for me to be quiet. Mm-hmm. However, now I'm moved. I really would like to contribute something here, and I'm going to say something. And that ability to feel the vibration, when is it appropriate for me to step in, to step back, to hold my peace, deal with something somewhere else because this is not quite the right place all the time.
Yes. So it's what we were saying last time about reception, isn't it? If we take more time to receive instead of always being on transmit, then what happens is we move into a different mode altogether. Things become slower, calmer, because we're receiving. And I really believe that's what human beings are meant to do. We are meant to sit quietly and receive. And I was speaking to someone last night on Your Body is Your Business Plan. You missed a great session. I hope you'll get a chance to look at the replay. We had a new member called Lone Langstad. She's a Danish lady, a human rights person. Fantastic, really interesting. You'll love her. And she, when I contacted her to join us for Your Body is Your Business Plan, she said, "Oh, I'd love to come, but I can't. In Jutland, and I'm walking in the wilderness there." And I don't know if you've ever been to Jutland, but I have. It's extraordinary. It's a wilderness. There's nothing, no trees, no plants. It's just a freezing wilderness. Gosh. And one of her things is to walk in Jutland with no phone, nothing, just walk. And she said, it's the only time I can truly receive fully, and I can block out the noise of life. And I thought that was an amazing experience. She sent me a video too, which I'll show you something of this wilderness. It's a fantastic place, really.
I think, coming from Africa, that's also going into what we call the bush, which is, where the animals are king, you are a visitor, and you are respectful. But just going into that sort of environment and being present for the sounds, the activities, whatever is going on, because you are not king there.
Absolutely, yes. So I'm sure you have done the same thing many, many times. And yeah, it's so fabulous, isn't it, to just sit back and receive. It's just, to me, so natural.
Can I just chip in something quickly there? In the receiving, of course, it alters the internal biochemistry. and this is such an important, and I think we may have to leave this till next week because I see we're running out of time here. What happens internally is a biochemical reaction or, application, and how that alters the way in which we conduct ourselves in the world. And music, some of music really just rouses us and, gets the excitement up, and others soothes and calms and
yes,
allows us
absolutely.
to centralize.
Yes. And isn't it absolutely amazing how many different genres there are, out there? The world is full of music, which I'm constantly exploring new stuff. It's amazing.
Always.
That's a great note to end on, I think, Margaret. And I'm really, as usual, great conversation. Hope our audience, our LinkedIn and our YouTubers are getting something wonderful from this conversation. Please tell us if you are. No comments today, but please feel free to leave a comment or ask a question. And if you'd like to, if you'd like to get in touch with either of us, I'll make sure our profiles are there. And please do get in touch and do ask questions, because we will be there to answer. And if you have any special requests for us to talk about anything in particular, please let us know. Anything else to add? Is that everything?
Well, I hope that everybody has a wonderful day or evening or whatever is coming up next for them.
Whatever the rest of that 24-hour period may be. Absolutely. I'm there with you with that thought too. Yes, have a great day, evening, afternoon, morning, and, receive the day. And you'll really get so much value out of what you receive, I'm sure. Thank you, Margaret. Lovely. Have a great trip. Stay safe. And
thank you very much. And you have a lovely weekend.
I will. I'll be in touch. Bye-bye for now. Bye. Wonderful. That's super. As usual, we come up with amazing things to talk about. We never run out of things, and I don't think we ever will. So I just wanted to say, yes, please be aware of what's happening this next week, because we're leading up to a big summit. It's a burnout summit. And it's happening on the 11th and 12th of August. And we're inviting lots of people to join us. I hope Margaret will join us too. And we're going to be talking about burnout in particular and embodiment in general. So if you'd like to know more about the Burnout Summit, it's called the Worthy Burnout Summit. Ebishila Diet-Spiff and myself will be running this. And there are still some places available. So please contact us if you'd like to know more about joining a summit. 2 days of interesting conversations, roundtable, videos, you name it, all focused on burnout. So without more ado, I will bring this session to an end. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll just get Beethoven revved up. We can hear a bit more of the Here it comes, and I look very much forward to seeing you next week. Please receive your life. Bye for now. Bye.